Antiques on York in Rockville, Indiana, 100 West York Street, celebrating our 10th year in business.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order.
You gotta wake up now.
Department head comments, Sheriff.
Reported collections, total amount collected year to date, $92,953.34. Housing, out of county Annex and DOC, we brought in $255,879. That's all the reports I have.
Thank you. Katie?
Well, I am coming before you this morning and I'm gonna be asking for a little bit of money.
Oh no, broke.
Yeah, give you a look. I have IBTR filings. So I will need my attorney money because you have to take an attorney to IBTR if you are the county, so.
So you're gonna use Maryland.
Marilyn, she's one for me every time, I think.
It's after the first of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll be fine. I have no idea when they will set the new, we got a new judge. It was Marty Wentworth. She was not favorable to the assessors. I don't know how I won each of my cases, but she's not. Justin McAdams has been placed in her role, and he is assessor friendly. So.
Just one going.
I've got 2 individuals, and they're each taking 2 parcels. That's funny because one of the individuals appealed 6, but he's only taking 2. Whatever, but just want to give you a heads up that I will be needing some attorney fees covered to take those IBTR. But otherwise, everything else is going good. We are done with reassessment early. We're just doing sales validation for the end of the year for racial studies, and everything's good otherwise. Thank you.
Okay, Kim?
We're having a blast.
Good. Wonderful.
Basically, I'm waiting on Exoct. They've got a couple of glitches they need to fix before I can certify. So they told me today, I'm hoping.
Tax collections went well otherwise. And
Yes.
good. Good. It's always a fun time of year for the taxpayer.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Meese.
Yes, sir. All I've got for you is, as you know, it's renewal time on health insurance, and we chose to stay with Anthem. However, we did change our reinsurer from Anthem to a company called Veris. The benefit is just the much lower rate, and the rate's not guaranteed for 2 years, but the fact that they will service us with a cap on what the possible increase could be next year for 2 years. The only difference on the reinsurance is, say an individual has reached their specific loss and then the reinsurance kicks in. The way Anthem did it, since Anthem also did the reinsurance, they wouldn't invoice the county for, say, that $10,000 above the specific loss. They would just pay themselves rather than invoicing us and then reimbursing the money. Veris does it the other way, as many of them do. Veris will pay the invoice for that $10,000, then they will reimburse us for that $10,000. It may take a few days, but nothing has changed. So by doing so, we were able to keep our fixed costs at that 5% increase. And what I brought for you today is, as you know, last year we went with I think the 5% increase, knowing we had an exposure of about 100,000 if we reached expected claims. Typically in our history, we have not reached expected claims, but the last 2 years we have. Last year started off horrible. We were about 146% of expected claims early in the year, but then that trend changed, and we have some other better trending now. So we're about 15 or 16%, as I recall. We don't know December's numbers yet, above expected, but we did reach expected. So what I've got for you today, and I'll pass these out, are just rate analysis. So when you get this, it's the second line that we're talking about, the Veris HMIG. And it just shows you what, if you refund at 3%, 4%, or 5%, it just shows you what our expected exposure would be. And if we went with the 5% increase, we'd be about the same boat that we were last year. Last year, I know we had money in the fund. Roy and I talked about this, Mary Ann. That fund is depleted now, but it may be because there may not be some monies in there that should have come from someplace else. That's beyond me. That's them. So
Well, Mary Ann, I think someone will speak for Mary Ann, but she's working on trying to figure that out, or maybe we can talk
I
about
found a
it.
bunch of it.
So it's HMIG, the second line down, and it'll show you what our exposure would be if you funded those at those rates.
Say second line down from.
Yes. At the bottom where they're all, it says reserve impact if claims hit expected, we're at the Anthem Veris HMIG. That's what we're going with. So if we fund at 5%, about the same as last year, we're exposed for about $100,000 if we reach expected. And again, typically we don't, but we have. So there's no guarantee that we won't, no guarantee we will. Thing that has changed, before we had individual lasered out of the reinsurance. They had a different rate instead of $50,000 specific loss, it went to 75. We don't have that with this new company. It's no lasers on the insurance.
Well, the rates are high, I mean, my gosh, that's.
And we talked about that at the commissioner conference, because I wondered if we were high. We are right with everybody else in the $25,000 to $30,000 range is what we're looking at for family insurance.
For family insurance, it's $31,324.
Yeah, and that's just about where everybody is. Because I was concerned if we were high, but we're not. You can get cheaper, of course, but that's most counties right there. Which on the one hand, it's depressing to hear that they're all that high, but it's good to know that we're not abnormal.
Well, and that was, yeah, that's without the increase too. I should quantify, that's without an increase. So you're really, you've told me a number of times that we really need to decide where we need to be, I guess, is what you're
Right.
asking us to.
Right. This is all claim driven. We don't have any control on that. We got the negotiations to 5% with the Anthem platform, which Anthem still provides the best discounts, about a 40% discount over other platforms. So we're real comfortable, I am too, but I mean, Commissioner's real comfortable with Anthem and comfortable. Really, when we look at the numbers, this was a pretty obvious choice for us and highly recommended by our broker, Brown & Brown, as we go, Hardy Sutton, and we go with that company.
Clarify something for me, if you will. This is just health insurance. This does not include the cost for the clinic or the prescription drug plan that you guys added on last year or any of the rest of that, right?
All the prescription.
These are not in that.
Prescriptions are all in that. In fact, the script saved us about $100,000 last year by going with that plan. That I don't know. I can't answer that.
But you think the prescription drug plan is in this?
I think that $100,000 savings is reflected in that, yes. Also, we save money with, I should have told you this too, and just so you know, it won't help you in this decision, which way you're going with, but the orthopedic plan that JB went through saved us considerable money, and we just this year got what we've been waiting for, and JB and I talked about this before, a heart plan also. This is with
Ascension.
Yeah, and it's the best there is, and so it's same thing. If someone has health issues, same as JB, you won't have a deductible with me, you'll get a reimbursement. Although JB said there were some bills that came along that you weren't expecting, but overall, you were pretty pleased with it.
So the cardio, you're going with Ascension rather than Hendrix?
Yes. Much higher rated plan.
Yeah, I just switched to Hendrix, thanks.
Hendrix is.
I'm not switching again.
Hendrix is highly recommended on the orthopedic, as you know. Actually, higher rated than OrthoWindy, but nobody hears about them. They hear about OrthoWindy, so they think that's the place to go. But, well, as you know,
Hendrix was good on ortho, but the cardio, you're going with Ascension.
Cardio one with Ascension, yeah. And I wasn't involved in those negotiations, so I don't know why they chose that. That was a thing that Brown & Brown, Hardy Sutton did. We're entering into what they have done. They didn't do that on our behalf. They created this program, and we're buying into that program. So they didn't come to us and say, you want to go with Hendrix, you want to go with Ascension. They went with Ascension, and we're buying into their program.
I gotta switch doctors again.
Quit getting sick. Quit getting old.
Yeah.
It's the only choice we got, ain't it? Either you get older or you don't.
You need to quit insuring all you old people, that's the
Yeah, I
problem.
know, I
That's the
know.
problem.
Why don't you just kill us off and be done with
There
There have been times I thought about
it?
that.
Soylent Green, isn't that the old movie?
Yeah,
You remember that one?
yeah.
Yeah, that'll test your age.
Yeah, I know.
And don't forget, we're still marching down 1%, down to more on the employees.
I don't need
I
it.
think it'd be 83 now. 83%
82,
down.
18, according to Susie, it'd be 82, 18.
82 now, okay.
82, 18 now.
Yeah.
That's correct, right? You said you're 83, 17 now.
Our goal is go to 80-20, but
We're on that.
we'll see where we are as it goes. A lot of counties are 75-25 still, so.
We'll have to go to 75, 25.
Eventually, yeah. Well, to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure the hit that we took last year, I'm not even sure 5%. I really need to make up some ground and not,
Yeah.
here's my fear, is if we go for the 5, and then we take another hit, we're gonna get, that's the problem with self-insurance in some ways. If we take too many hits, we're gonna be way behind.
Yeah, you're gonna pay for it one way or the other.
Oh, I know we're gonna pay,
It
but
was nice to have that buffer, that buffer there. We don't know what that number is, but we had enough.
well, we don't either, and I
Well,
mean,
that's
all of
the,
this
and
is a
that's the
guesswork,
problem that
it's a
we're,
problem.
you know, when you ask us how much to take here, is
Yeah.
I can't answer that because we really don't know what should be in the self-insurance fund due to whatever has happened here.
Right.
Now, Mary Ann has found $400 and some thousand of it from your prescription plan that was not ever moved
Great.
into there and was paid from there. Now, we can fix that, but has there been shortages in what's been moved otherwise? From what we've appropriated, there about has to be, because there's a lot left in those lines. So you have to believe, and we don't, you know well enough, everybody in this room knows well enough, we don't rat hole that much here.
And I would
And,
have to indicate that it's been a good thing, that we're funded pretty good there.
well, we have been funding it well. Now, the question is what should be, and then if you do have one of those years and you end up with, a big
Yep.
rough rush of claims, at this point, we don't have the buffer. Now, we may when this is all said and done again, but in the interest of being conservative with it, I would say that we should probably do 6% and try to get caught up again.
And that was their recommendation. They just did the 5 here because that's what you guys have said typically, that you went over the 5.
Well, normally we've just tried to follow whatever the rate increase is. I mean, we're not here to,
Yeah,
you know me, I say, constantly, we're not here to run a bank, but
yeah.
at the same time, we've gotta have adequate funding,
I
and
agree.
if we were to get another large hit,
Yeah.
that would, it would be irresponsible for us not
Yeah,
to.
and that's expected claim, that's if it maxed out, that would be the exposure, so.
Well, I really think my suggestion is we do 6, but we'll see what. The group
We
thinks.
gotta get the buffer built back up.
Or you think I mean, you've had experience in dealing with these things, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Even though nobody likes those kinds of things, but at
well,
the
I
same
don't
time,
like it either, man.
you're gonna get to the point of, eventually, if you don't do it, it's gonna be a really big hit.
Well, and that's-
Nobody wants
Pay me
that.
now, pay me later.
So,
Well, I guess the other thing I could say is, I mean, when we revisit this conversation in a year, if we are in a much better situation, why then you can adjust
Right.
accordingly. I mean, it's not like that it's,
It comes to a double hit. Tom and I had that discussion with the insurance trust many times. Look, the employees always wanted a zero increase.
Well, I
Maybe you had
understand.
the funds to do a 0, but it should have been 5. But if you didn't do that, and then you should have done 5 next, all of a sudden it's a 10% increase now.
well,
instead of
we get
next
too
year.
far behind.
Yes,
And,
you do. I agree with you.
I doubt the insurance premiums are gonna go down.
All right. I'm pretty confident.
I'm reasonably confident in that, so.
yeah, I know from a past experience, we've had years where it was, fairly conservative, and then all of a sudden it's like 20% increase.
When we did that here just a couple years
Nobody
ago.
likes that, so.
Well, that's a,
Let's take the 6 and go.
And that really is the blessing of self-insured. We're not giving that extra money away to the insurance company. We're keeping it ourselves. That's really the benefit of it.
right, it's not, that is absolutely right. So, what do you want from us then? Do you want just to tell you that we're comfortable with 6, or do you want us to pass that, or? do you
Yeah, I mean,
like us
that's up
pass
to you
that?
guys. We.
Well, I feel like it's a joint
Yeah,
decision.
and I am comfortable with 6. I always think that's.
Okay,
exactly
well,
what
I
you
don't
guys
want
say.
to,
It's
if the
better to
commissioners are,
have
Okay, well, we can do that. I mean, I just wanna check, make sure that's what you're looking for.
6% should put us, if we reach expected claim, pretty much even. We should be covered.
Yeah.
6 it is, isn't it?
Yeah, somebody make a motion. 6%.
So moved.
Go ahead.
Roy moved, Jim seconded, all in favor for 6%? Aye. Okay, let's,
And Mary Ann and Nick will figure out the rates, get the rates.
figure the rates and all that.
I do have a question. I asked you before I leave, I got a phone call I gotta do. Did you have a meeting on the 7th, that phone call on the 7th with Nick and Barry?
No,
It's scheduled for today, I saw. I just got a notice about that, so they're going to do it.
I haven't
at 10
seen
o'clock.
that notice.
I just saw it this morning, so I'll go take the call, but I didn't know if it was something I needed to do or if you won't be available probably for it. but-
No.
Okay. That's really all I have. I do want to thank you guys for coming to the end of year meeting. I think that's something we should look at doing every year, just to set where we've been, what we're looking at next year on both sides. And I thought it was a worthwhile day, so I appreciate that.
Oh, that was good. I mean, it was, it's good to kind of, you know, find out what's going on and,
Get our heads together.
yeah, yeah. So, anything else from the commissioners?
No, I think we're pretty good. You got something for us?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Chris?
Yeah, I'm here to ask you for money for, I talked before about a new console, radio console for the dispatch. And although we haven't signed a contract yet, because I wanted to get the money stuff straightened out, it's gonna cost $262,000 for this piece of equipment. It replaces a piece of equipment that's been in there for a very long time. And that piece of equipment is on its final days, so this is something that we need to do. There's some debate over whether this money should come out of the 911 fund, which has $400,000 in it, so there's enough money in it, or whether it should come out of some of the ARP money. I'm kind of in, we talked about this before during the last meeting, and there was a discussion that maybe it would be good to do a little bit of both. And I'd like to sign this contract in January, and so unfortunately that's going to get pushed till February because we have to do the appropriation stuff, and it's going to be in the newspaper. So I was asking if you guys had any decision on that, or if we need to have an ARP meeting.
Well, as far as ARP, we'd basically have to have an ARP meeting when we, Jim, to really hash that out.
Yeah, I mean, the commissioner can make that decision if that was your recommendation without an RFP.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what, if we want to talk about that now, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I guess the question is for me, as far as 911 funds, is the question the legality of the expense out of 911, or is it just that we don't want to drag the 911 fund down to?
It's the legality of it. It's most of that money is there's some prep work that has to get done with the electrical system that can't be 911 money. And that's what I'm talking, $1,500. But all $262,000 from the 911 funds could pay for that. It was just 911 funds are good, for a long time, where the ARP money, it has to be obligated or spent, I'm not sure what the term was, in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what the discussion was. And there's also other expenditures that are gonna come up over the next few years for the dispatch. So I'd rather not drain that $400,000 down, because I'm gonna have to buy new equipment here over the next 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for the
What
other.
do you think? What do you think?
I can't speak for the other two, but for me, if it came out of 911, which to me is what that fund was created for, that would still leave $150,000 this year in it, with money coming in next year. So I'd probably be reluctant to spend ARP funds on that without at least total ARP funds on that.
Well, I don't think I'm with you. I don't think we ought to do total. Like, to me, I guess it's a question: do we feel like we need to split it, or do we need to just do it?
And we really don't have a firm number on ARP funds yet. I know Marianne's working on that too, trying to decide what that is. We know how much money's there, but we don't really know how much is committed, unless Roy knows how much is committed, so we don't really have a number there yet.
Well, we know, not off the top of my head, I don't, but we know what's committed. Now, what is going to get spent from that is the question you still don't have the answer to, and that's because it's joint. But it's not that hard to figure out what we committed. I think everything that I recall at this point is done, with the exception of that, the park Wi-Fi, the premium pay for next year for sheriff's employees.
And we are looking at possibility of using some of that to be able to do Marshall Road and.
Yeah, and then, right, but at this point, that's not been allocated or even committed, so
Yep.
those are the three things that I know of
Yep.
sitting there that we hadn't exhausted it.
I think they will go along with some funds from that, for that, but as long as there's 911 funds available to pay for it, I think we probably lean that way.
How do you feel about that, Chris? I think that's kind of
I'm good. I mean,
you're all right with that? You think
Yeah.
just pay it with 911 funds and then?
I think our funds have to be committed by.
The end of next year.
End of 24, by 26, so if something did come up.
Now, don't forget something, you are committed already, because you turned all the rest of that in as revenue
Right.
replacement.
Right.
So, we don't have to worry about the committed part.
Well, that's true. So
We're done with that.
That doesn't say that at some point expenses come down, that 911 doesn't have funds, so we could use those funds for that then as well, as long as you.
Well, I
guys know
guess
what-
if something, if something breaks, why, then we could come and, remind me if you know off the top of your head, about what is the revenue for the 911 fund a year?
the state will guarantee we get 200,000, and then they do this thing called a 10-90 split. This year we got 39,000, and it averaged, so since 2018, it's averaged about 35 or so. So you can kind
Of course, you have expenses out of that though, too. We're
Yeah, and our
funding
expenses
dispatchers.
haven't, they haven't matched the revenue that it takes in, but that's because 60% of the cost of the dispatch is paid through general fund money.
Well, I think just take it out of the 911 then. That's
where I would.
yeah. Well, I think, are we all right with that? Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
And then I guess if something breaks or something, why come back and we'll.
There's no reason that it can't be on the list for January. You've already got 2 or 3 more that we have to do for January anyway.
What, the
additional for this. So he can sign his contract and move on. I mean, we haven't hit that deadline yet, so get her
So yeah, you can get your
and we can do it in
additional in
January.
and we'll do it in January.
Okay.
That's speed it up. I mean, obviously the commissioner signed the contract, but
Yeah, but as far as the appropriation.
Yeah, we can go
process,
ahead and-
we've already basically, I think here said, okay,
All right.
so.
And it, boy, that's a move well made, that's a needed piece of equipment, that's an antique they're working at there, and I'm not even sure it's fixable if something goes down on it now, so.
It's not.
Yeah,
Like, everyone who's worked on that piece of equipment's retired, so.
If it goes down, we're in trouble.
okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Yeah, just one thing is we got the sheriff's department to buy a new video recorder for the interrogation room, and I just wanted the council's approval to spend that money and then to get reimbursed later, like we do with grants all the time. All right.
Now, you're gonna spend it before, is the money gonna leave before the end of the year?
No, it won't start till January 1st, and I'm thinking we should get the money back. Depends on how quick you guys contract it out. We should get it back by April or May.
Okay. Thank you. So I might have to go ahead or should we make a motion? Health can go ahead if they like, Frank, or you guys can go ahead. I'll not make you wait till clear to the end of the, you probably got places to be besides here, so.
Yeah, we had some items to hand out to you here before we start. You got there quick, I told you.
Oh, yeah, come on, whatever you wanna do, or you can sit down, or whatever you need to do.
want to, Doc. Thank you. Okay. All right, over here discusses the health department fund balance. We got $194,000 sitting there that we're not using. So we'd like to find some uses. We've had some uses for it here in our department. But that is all health department money belongs to us, but you gentlemen hold the purse strings to it. And we can't spend it until you tell us we can do it. So, starting with 1159 at the top of the page, that's reimbursement for the state for vaccine administration. That's 151,000 of that. Now that's the 151,000 tax money. That's from the county. The rest of the balance is from the county then. So you look like about $100,000 from the county.
Probably most of which is actually fees and that we have accumulated from charging for permits and certificates and things like that.
So that's not county tax money though.
But probably some is, our department received 0 property tax dollars for 2023. So.
Okay. So that's the 1159. Then the 1168, that's the next one, y'all have the list there, 1168, local health maintenance. Now Janet applied for and got, for our use, for salaries for staff, 10% of that can be used for capital expenditures. We also use that to cover the salaries of those helpers who work in the Covered Bridge Fest would do the food inspection. In 1206, but that's state grant that's going to go away. We'll get more money in the future. In 1206, Jan applied for and obtained use for travel and training and vaccinations, and we help subsidize or pay for the work the family health department. So that's also state grant that's going to go away. There's still a lot of money there. We use some for office supplies. Then number 8136, that helps us pay Union Hospital for our public health nurses. This is Rogers, Sandy Rogers, and any other people that obtain to help fulfill our obligations. Unsure about the Longview here, Has to take it, I guess, a year at a time. Also used for school liaison between the health department and the school nurses need help. 8906 for covered COVID testing. That's from you for now. And it's done for now. That's what we got for COVID testing. You use it for whatever we need from here on. 8907, that was also for COVID vaccine, and we can use that for our needs from here on. But if we can get any more of it, it's done for us. 9/11/17, that's what Liddy got. Liddy got the 8906, 8907, and 8136, and then he got 2 of the others. So they did a lot of work trying to get grants to help keep us going, and they've done a good job. We had a surplus of funds, and the nice thing about the health department, we're solvent anyway. So, my recommendations for use of these funds, let's start with 1159. Actually, I really start with 9117. Local health emergency preparedness. That's money that is owed to Liddy Dowdright. And she does a lot of work. She got 2 of these grants. She does all the septic systems inspections, all the food inspections. She helps organize the inspection, the food inspection for the Covered Bridge Health Department, Covered Bridge Festival. So she does a lot of work. So, she really does deserve that money. And she would have got $794,000 there to spend. And I'd say she's right at the top of where this money ought to go. At least pay her that $7,000. Now, 1159. Turn the page here. So, as I said, my number one recommendation is it's a reimbursement for our work. Number two, use the excess money to make Janet's job a full-time position. I mean, we can't run that office without a good secretary. She does a good job. We got the money here, there's $794,000. Let's make her a full-time position. I need her there. The health department needs her. We need a good, consistent secretarial work that goes on there. So, my number two recommendation, use the excess money to make Janet a full-time job. This money can come from 1168, 1206, 8906, 8907. And she got the 1168 money and the 1206 money. She does a lot of heavy hard work getting money in here. So let me stop here.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I have some, a few things to say. Number one, first of all, sorry for your loss, Dr. Swaim. And we're all thinking about you and appreciate you being here. Number one, these balances I believe to be accurate, but this county council approved the requested budget from the health board.
Okay.
What they sent in, they got. So part of it isn't that we're holding back. Okay.
Talk what?
We're not holding back. We approved the budget that they requested. Number two, there has not been another request made on the local health emergency preparedness. That's 9117. I listened to what you had to say. I'm not going to discount anything that you said, but my understanding, and maybe I'm incorrect here, but that grant is not for septic inspections and food inspections and stuff. It's for being the emergency preparedness coordinator.
Which she had done the work for.
She may or may not. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. But it is a two separate discussions. We've got an individual basically with two separate salaries here, doing two different functions.
Right.
And so what she does on inspections or what she does in food inspections and septic inspections versus being emergency preparedness coordinator, I think is two things. So I want to make that, statement.
Yeah, but she had done that work though.
I'm not, there hasn't been a claim or request put in for another appropriation from it, so.
Janet, your request.
I will, yes. I wanted, because I had never administered that before, I wanted to take time to go through it. And I did go back through to July of '22 to see where we were at with it and what was due. And I do have a spreadsheet for that, if you would like a copy. And
That's fine. I'm just answering some questions that have come up here. That's simply what I'm doing.
Yeah, I didn't go ahead and put in another request.
There's not been anything I've been made privy to.
I really earned the money, I really do.
Okay. And that may well be. I'm not saying one way or the other on that. I'm not qualified to make that decision of whether she's earned the money or not. All I'm going to do is get the feedback from those who request it.
The council was qualified. The council has the purse strings here.
Well, the council has the purse strings, but first of all, we can't act on it if there's not anything given to us to act on. That's the first step.
Right.
Okay.
Just letting you know, I wanted to take time.
But it's to come from the health board. You understand the health board has to approve that request.
Which I also have email.
Well, they have to approve it and vote on it, not just emails and stuff. They have to approve any request that comes here, they have to approve.
Which we did in a board meeting, so.
Okay, well, we've not seen any requests from.
Sure.
any
Right,
of that.
because I wanted to know where it was at and what we needed.
Okay, well,
So-
Roy is correct. We approved your budget that you requested. When you came, your 24 budget has been approved, that was submitted by the health board. We approved.
Correct. This actually is for,
This is separate.
23. We're looking at 23.
Okay, well,
And this is all separate.
fine. 23 is almost over, so anything that we were to try to do at this point, you're not going to get spent by the end of the year anyway. So
Right.
we're really talking about 24. The next thing I wanted to comment on is 1159. Yes, that's true. There is $0 of property tax revenue in that going into that fund this year. That's an absolute fact. But that's not the fact for next year, because in order to get all the governor's health, or whatever they call that thing now, there's a massive levy going to that to the tune of almost $200,000. So that fund is going to get a tremendous amount of levy next year, as well as then you're going to get a big tranche of money from the state, right?
Correct.
going into its own separate fund, which if I remember right is going into 1160, but I wouldn't quote that.
1161,
Okay, 1161.
yeah.
Based upon the budget that was presented to us and the health board president delivering that budget to us at our budget hearings, there isn't an absolute plan for what's to happen with both of those funds for that period of time. You want to know why there's no property tax money going into it this year? You answered your own question to some extent. There's $262,000 in it.
Sure, sure.
We have not denied a budget request to speak of. Yeah, we've trimmed salaries or whatever from requests, but that's to put them in line with what we've done with everyone else. As far as any of that, and they've got a great big chunk of money from the vaccine deal, which made that health fund very, very solvent. It wasn't that way before, and it got property tax allocation to it. So that's why that's that way. 1168 and 1206 will go away. They are still appropriated per the request submitted by the health board.
Yeah, okay, but we got the money here.
No, I understand. They're not going to get more revenue to them, right?
Right.
Dr. Swaim, so there is a amount of time that will go away. Now, what I guess I'm going to say here is, and I'm going to let you then say what else you wanted to say, but we have not received a request for what to do with any of these
Well, that's
things.
why we're here today.
Okay, all right. So I also wanted to kind of clear up a couple things in the front end.
Recommendation.
Okay, and that's fine, and
That's
that's
good.
fine. Okay,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
please.
Okay, so recommendation one is to leave reimburse Liddy. I think she's right. There's a lot here, so I think we just ought to reimburse her. It's just $7,000 out of that $794, so that's almost peanuts. Recommendation two, use expense, okay, I mentioned that. I really think we got the money here. She does a great job. I'd like to have some continuity as a secretary in the health department. So I really would like to use that money. Of course, we're gonna run out someday. So we'll worry about that. You worry about that down the road. Let's use that money now to make hers a full-time job. Okay, recommendation three. We need a new functional four-wheel drive to pull the emergency trailer. Betty can drive it. I think we are actually drove from home to work. And we parked up there and we used by other people in the health department to do our work they have to do outside the office. But I consider a new functional four-wheel trailer that can pull the emergency trailer. The one we have now doesn't work. We'd like to be able to trade it in and find something that will work. That's recommendation three for you to consider. Then our last one, recommendation four. There's one person or two in the health department like to have a better health office because it's split up. Health and nursing office is right across the hallway. Be nice to have it all together, some continuity. They like to get this for consideration. And there's some rumor or talk about moving things into the old National State Bank building. And we could go there. So just something to think about. A better health office, we're going to split up and no running water. We don't have no running water, no sink, and an exam room where the nurse is at. That's kind of a necessity. All the way out front is not ADA compliant. So I'd like to break you to think about that. So that's all I have.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
I'll sit down and shut up.
Okay. Okay, public comments. Guys wish to say anything? It's the public comment? No? Okay. So we're down to the business part of the meeting. Approval of the minutes, The prior meeting, the November meeting, it's in your packet.
Motion to approve the minutes is presented.
Second. Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
We have additional appropriations, you can see those, they're also in your packet.
First two are from public safety, they're for courthouse security and overtime for the sheriff's department for the festival. The courthouse security side of it was, we were run short, the overtime pay rate changed and we just didn't get enough in there for it, so that one's gonna run a little short. And then the Bridge Festival overtime, the lion's share of that would have been in the situation at Bridgeton.
Adding, where we added the officers to help control traffic.
Correct. I don't remember what Chris has done.
Park and Rec, he was short on several line items, so he asked for additional appropriation for one line item, and then again transfers to transfer them where they need them.
Okay.
Make sure you get that, particularly that one, submitted today to Gateway, because you're gonna run against their deadline of approving them. And that one they have to approve because it's a property tax fund.
Okay.
If we approve it here. JAG grant, you can answer that one too.
We received the money, the grant money, and we've spent it, but we just need to appropriate it to the right line item.
You remember what the JAG grant is? Is that a police thing or no? JAG grant?
It just says JAG grant.
Okay, that's fine. I just don't remember what it is.
But it was one of these that, we had to pay for it, and then I think
Right,
they
and then they
reimbursed
reimbursed
us.
us. It's fine. I just don't remember that specific one. That's fine.
That was before me,
Well, I don't remember it either.
The other one is from the probation officer. They are requesting money to be added. It was grant money that they received. It's One Step Meeting LCC grant. And it was for a service contract. Rusty gave me the letter.
Probation one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one is we received more money from Union Hospital Security, and I'm just spreading it.
You just want to go ahead and have it appropriated?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, because they've done the payroll.
They're paying all the bills now.
We're short a little bit, we're still working on it.
They need to pay 100% of that bill.
Yeah.
Okay, that is what is before you as far as additional appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the additional appropriations. All in favor?
Aye.
You have several transfers in your packet.
Yeah. Some of them I could have done without you guys' approval, but they were all mixed together, so I'm just waiting to.
You're in cleanup.
Well, we expect that at the year end.
Yeah.
Oh, you got 3 pages here, 4 pages for Park and Rec of moving larger and smaller amounts of dollars to get things balanced by year end, which is good. That's what we do. I don't remember what fund 8163 is.
It is highway generator.
Kind of generator grant. Okay, so.
It was appropriated in one fund but spent out of a different line item, and I'm just moving it.
Okay.
The court from interpreter to equipment maintenance, $1,000. A bunch for EMS for getting salaries right and so on. This was the first year of changing them to hourly. So there was a lot of guessing that went on there, and we're balancing everything out there. Dispositions to transcripts for the prosecutor, sheriff, between CCD and public safety, some shuffling of dollars there to cover a lot of different things.
So, questions on all those transfers? I mean, it's just the normal time of year that we are cleaning up.
I move it be approved.
Second. Motion been made and seconded to approve the transfers. All in favor? Aye.
I do have a question also, Roy, maybe you can answer it. There's gonna be expenses between now and the end of the year, and does the council approve that retroactively, or how does that work?
Well, there'll be encumbrances, which is of course the term for what you're talking about there, and then those will get collected by the auditor from the various departments, and then we'll tentatively aim for February, but it may be March, where we will approve those encumbrances that would then be items that would have come out of the 23 appropriation that were truly then claimed out and check written in 24. So yes, it's a retroactive approval. If we don't approve it, then it will come out of their 24 appropriation.
Okay.
And there'll be a long list of those. I mean, it's a big list. Almost every payroll line will have one too, so yes.
Okay, pay the jury.
I make a motion we pay the jury.
Motion been made and seconded to pay the jury. All in favor? You have your monthly cash flow statement in your packet from the auditor. Monthly reports, redevelopment.
Redevelopment met, we spent almost all the time talking about the Ready Grant opportunity and the possibilities of collaboration amongst all the units in the county or those that wish to participate. There is up to $50 million available to the region. Now, that doesn't mean that the region will get $50 million, but there's up to that. There are different match levels depending upon what type of entity applies. So local government would be a 1-to-1 match. So we have various different stipulations that they want as far as the projects to meet. So we discussed some opportunities of those. Then also made asked Cindy to send out to all units of government in the county about this opportunity, and if they wish to come in a joint effort in January to kind of submit them together so that we can kind of each support each other's projects. So that was the discussion at that meeting.
No courthouse security meeting, plan commission.
We did not meet, but I did ask Cassie to run the numbers, total building permits as of basically today. $19,630,000 worth of building permits issued.
We just got a permit for a $2.4 million house.
So construction is happening, which that dilutes that tax base that helps us all. Our building.
Solid waste, Tom?
We meet next week, so.
Okay. Okay, new business. I have a resolution before you. I'll let Roy introduce it.
I changed it because you said you were gonna change something of Julie's. I added it, and I added the email, said you would redo this, and you didn't, so I redid it.
Oh, well, I did, but I just didn't send it. I did sit down and do it then. Doesn't mean I sent it out to you.
Well, I changed mine to match yours.
Good, I'm glad you did. This is a resolution to, it basically transfers as well, but to transfer from the insurance line to EMS and jail. You obviously can't just transfer between departments just on paper like we do the rest of these other ones. So this resolution would move $87,728 from the Commissioner's Group Insurance line to the following: general jail, prisoner detention, $37,100. EMS field supervisors, $12,000. EMS certified EMTs, $8,000. EMS overtime salaries, $26,000, EMS service contracts, $4,628. Now allow me to explain why these are happening and why there's so much moving here. The jail prisoner detention, there are several juveniles being housed out of county, and therefore the prisoner detention cost for the last several months has been much, much higher than is standard and we have ever come to expect. The field supervisors, EMTs, and overtime lines for EMS, the lion's share of that is number one is that you had an employee on leave through the middle of the year, being paid leave time and then covering it with overtime or extra staffing to have that hole filled, and that we just didn't quite guess entirely right on how the pay change and overtime would compute. The last one is the service contracts line. As you will recall from Julie discussing, they changed billing providers, and they moved faster, and they're collecting more billing. They're billing more, they're collecting more, and when you pay it on a percentage, then that cost of that service contract goes up because that's how it gets paid. So that's why that one's there too. Okay.
So I think it begs the question, we're taking that for health insurance, so it begs the question, I think, about taking money from that fund. So I think that we ought to just talk about that. I mean, I think any reasonable person would probably ask that question. So,
If you got a better idea.
so no, I don't have a better idea, but I just think that it begs the question that we ought to, at least say that, there really is no other place to take it at this point. But
And at this point, there's not a lot of other place to take that. Yes, that's correct. And the other part of that, I suppose, what you also would be hinting to is that we just had a long discussion about insurance costs and so on and so forth. And at this point, which all begs as part of this discussion that you've heard happening here, is have we moved enough money from these insurance lines that we keep appropriating to over to the self-insurance lines to pay for it? And I can't say that I think that's happened entirely right, and I'm not blaming anyone for that. I'm just saying that we don't know that it's happened appropriately. But with that being said, frankly, it was the easiest place for me to find a place to pull the money from.
right.
We need a lot of money.
Well, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying I think it begs the question, when somebody sees that. That's why I asked.
Well, that's just for the 6% of the 5.
Right. So, I'm all right with it, I just wanted to just bring that up. Okay. That's what you have for you.
You need a motion?
Yeah.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 23, or 2023-11, reduction of appropriations.
Second.
Motion been made second to adopt the resolution, all in favor? In your packet, you also have the proposed meeting schedule for 24. We will wait and adopt that in January at our organizational meeting, but it is there for your information. The other thing I need to mention, on the 28th, December 28th, 9 a.m., we will have a special year-end meeting. Maybe the newspaper can help us out with that. It will be merely just a cleanup. Last minute, I think we're going to have an additional or two to address and some transfers. There will be no other department head comments, no any of that.
Just budget.
It will just be to finish up the year-end matters. Be here at the Annex, right, Marianne? 9 a.m.
On the 28th?
28th. And that's not unusual. We've a lot of times had a year-end meeting
That was kind of what I was getting at with the
Yeah, well,
appropriation.
I wondered if
I didn't
that was
realize
good.
we had a meeting.
Well,
We'll do that too.
Yeah. But
But it doesn't, but also what you're at, it wouldn't be the first time, probably won't be the last, that you'll have one miss that will find it afterwards and then retroactively approve it.
okay, any other comments?
have a comment, just I saw we got the 1782 notice, and want to acknowledge the work that Roy did on the budget and so forth. Unless you've gone through all that stuff, you don't realize how tedious it is and how difficult it is to get all that straightened out. And I appreciate what Roy's done as far as the budget, and I think it speaks well for the county council.
Second that.
Thank you. And since Tom brought it up, we did get our 1782 notice. The budget looks as if it will be approved as submitted. The levies were all appropriate for what we submitted. The budget was what we submitted. The budgets per fund were as we submitted, and Mary Ann told him we were happy with it, and well, get a budget order sometime.
Roy told me we were happy.
Well, I told her to tell her. But thank you, Tom.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Well done.
Just start charging for autographs here.
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause, Marianne? Okay.
Motion adjourned, yes.
Second. You need it.
What